Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about why keeping domestic pigs safe from feral hogs is an important issue. So first I'm going to talk about a little bit about the description of the issue. Feral hogs pose a threat to swine production systems by transmitting lethal viruses, causing property and farm damages, and causing potential worker injury. Now, they pose majority of the threat to small scale farms or hybrid system farms because of the greater access the feral hogs have to an outdoor facility. Um, they have greater access to the domestic pigs, the workers, and just the property in general. So it makes it much easier for them to cause breaches in any perimeter buffer area you may have on the farm. Another big impact they have is the transmission of zoonotic diseases. So in 2016, there was a brucellosis virus outbreak in New York City, and they found out that it was transmitted from a feral hog invasion in outdoor pig farms. They were able to positively trace the feral hog um, transmission to 13 states due to pig sales. But as you can see on the map, clearly it spread to many states. So it's clear that feral hogs and domestic pigs are reservoirs for diseases and can pass on zoonotic diseases to workers, and then they go out and can pass it on to the greater population. Another important impact feral hogs have on a farm is the agriculture. So whether your farm is using agriculture as a feed supply or is it just another revenue source, feral hogs play a really big role in destroying property. The best way to counteract this is increase property protection, increase biosecurity, and disease prevention for your pigs. If the issue continues to persist, population control can be used. So, for my recommendations, to say we want to eliminate the entire feral hog population with one solution is just extremely unrealistic and impractical, but here are some tips on how you can increase your chances on reducing the feral hog impact on your production system. So, number one would be disease prevention and increased biosecurity on your farm. Number two is physical prevention and protection of your farm. And then three would be population control. So, for disease prevention and increased biosecurity, um, there's a statistic that 80% of documented pathogen transmissions in Europe are due to wild hogs. That is a massive percentage of disease transmission due to feral hogs. Diseases like anthrax, leptospirosis, swine brucellosis, pseudorabies are all zoonotic diseases that can be passed on from feral hogs to your pigs and cause issues, but then also passed on to the workers and then spread throughout the state. Um, and there are vaccinations for all of these diseases and more, and they should be an immediately done on new pigs entering the farm or just any of your domestic herd in general if they do not already have these vaccinations. As you can see, the picture shows anthrax cases in Texas and the different counties throughout the years. You can see through disease prevention, like these anthrax vaccinations, the number of counties affected are shrinking over the years, but you can also see how it moves areas due to where the feral hog population is moving. So you may think now your production system is safe due to only having a few feral hogs nearby, but it is always key to vaccinate your animals for these in case the herds decide to move. Another key factor would be physical prevention. Um, Bait traps like warfarin are very successful in handling feral hog populations, especially when it comes to population control. Strengths ranging from 0.025% down to 0.005% have a 100% mortality rate within 5 days of exposure. So these have an extremely high success rate, especially if you're dealing with a large population. Other methods may include electrical fencing, perimeter cameras, or other bait traps. And these are all kind of just based off of the size of your production, whether it's a hybrid system or indoor outdoor exclusively, the location of your production system, and then the size of the feral hog population that you're dealing with. And then finally, why would this be cost effective? So feral hogs lead to an estimated $1.5 billion in damages to agriculture, property, and livestock in the US each year. That is a huge amount of money lost dealing with feral hogs. $272 million in crops in 2018 were lost due to wild hogs alone, and then 40 million in damages related to livestock, predation, and disease from feral hogs in 2016 were lost. Um, that is such a large number, especially if you have a smaller production system, like this is your livelihood, and it is so important to take the steps to prevent feral hogs from ruining that. Now, vaccinations can be such a cheaper method than having to deal with later on when your animals have become effective and dealing with disease control throughout the farm, isolation, methods of curing that vaccination or having to put that animal down. For example, vaccines like leptospirosis vaccine ranges from around $64 a dose or 64 cents a dose, and anthrax vaccines are only $1 a dose, which may seem a lot if you have a lot of animals, but in the grand scheme of things, that is so much cheaper than having to deal with the alternative. And then finally, whether you're on a small scale or a large scale production, wild hogs pose a threat to not only the welfare of domestic pigs, workers, but also the property and agriculture. Methods like disease prevention, increased biosecurity, physical protection, and population control all help the removal of feral hogs in a cost effective manner. Thank you.